have a lot of what I dream of already, but it's just taking it to the next level. It is success in all ways, and like having beautiful, loving relationships, and traveling and creating projects and films and transformational products, which, by the way, I'm going to launch a product. So think about what you want to create. Your words are commanding your world. Your thoughts are shaping your reality in every moment. But yeah, tapping into the frequency. What feeling do you want to feel? Do you want to feel joy? Tap into that feeling, because then you'll get more of that back.
Focus on hitting your goals in every area of your business. Remember, the universe rewards the bold. A leader has to take the risks.
It is really nice to see you. What's going on, Maria? Everything's perfect for you in your part of the world?
Yeah, perfect as usual.
As it could be.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay.
How about your world?
It's pretty darn good. Of course,
Yeah.
nothing's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I said that my life is definitely not perfect, but it's pretty damn good.
Yes.
And I'm happy about that. So
absolutely. I'm happy to hear this.
yeah, I mean, but it's the truth. I mean, none of our lives are perfect. There's always stuff happening in everybody's situation. But there's like a sense of really like a sense of gratefulness maybe that I have in my like kind of my soul. I'm really grateful for everything that I have, everything that I've got to experience, and so I feel really lucky right now,
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you. Same here, because there's so much to be grateful for sure.
Sure. So what part of the world are you? So everybody knows where you're from.
I'm in Los Angeles, California, and I specifically live near Hollywood area. Franklin Village is where I'm at. Yeah.
So why'd you pick Hollywood and Franklin Village?
Right. I moved out to LA 11 years ago. I was in New York before this, and I chose to come out here to be in the acting world and the spiritual community. And I picked Hollywood in particular, 3 or 4 years ago, just because I thought this is where I need to be, which is fine. It's good. And I like where I just moved to about 2 months ago. It's quiet. And then down the street, there's like some fun stuff. So it's good.
So what's fun stuff? What does that mean?
Fun stuff would be restaurants, pretty much, so good food.
Okay. So are you like a foodie?
I do like good food, but you gotta give and take. What's work to eat, what's not. What am I gonna feel like afterwards? But yeah, no, I love good food.
So is there like, do you have a favorite food?
I would say Mediterranean or Italian. Yeah.
Do you have like a food that you just hate, totally hate?
Totally hate. There's one food is called water chestnuts. I don't know why, but the way there's not many things I hate, but the way I don't know. Water chestnuts are just strange to me.
Just not good for you. So,
Yeah.
so what's the difference between living in New York and living in LA?
The difference is New York has a different heartbeat to it. It's very, it's diverse, it's cultured, it's got, it's always alive. It's never asleep, and it's busier. There's a lot, the transportation's different, the people are different. Yeah, it's a whole different way of living. And out here, it's just more open, it's clean, different vibe of people, which I love both, but I like living out here.
So California, do you see yourself living in California like for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I would say yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And have a home bi-coastal and have a home in New York. Why not?
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, just you might as well have different spots in the world, right?
Yeah.
And so when you started, like, how old were you when you started acting?
I always had a dream for acting. When I would say as young as 5, 6 years old, it was kind of a thought. I'm like, oh, I would love to. Why not? And I didn't know I could actually pursue it as a career until I was 18. And I was seeing the filming of Dead Man Down. I was working for Vitamin Water at the time. And I saw Colin Farrell and I saw Dominic Cooper and all these people. And I'm seeing the whole thing right in front of me. And I get to meet them. And I'm like, this is so cool. I'm like, how do I go about this? And then I had a friend who was an actress. She introduced me to her agent. I auditioned with him and he was like, all right, you got some chops here. All right, let's work together. And then my very first thing, I booked a role in Lifetime. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but let's just keep going with it. And then I just started from there.
Was it scary, or I mean, what do you recall about that experience?
It was because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just jumping in both feet, just go for it. And I was just rolling with the punches.
So,
So it's
so
a
you
little
didn't
bit,
have like a bunch of training before that? They just kind of like, you're like, hey, I'll try it, and you just went for it, or
yeah.
really? So it was, you totally just learned some lines and just went for it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. So after that, and now was this back in New York? Did you grow up in New York, or where did you grow up actually?
I grew up in Pennsylvania, Langhorne, PA, and then I moved to Philadelphia for 5 years, and then from Philly to New York, and I was there for about a year, and then moved here 11 years ago.
Okay. And are you, I mean, were you a good kid or a bad kid? Did you get in trouble? Were you a straight A student? What were you like?
Yeah. I was a good kid. I would say in school I was like a B, B student, whatever. But I was always a good kid. I did follow the rules, but I had moments where I'm like, oh, well, let me be adventurous. But yeah, I would
And
say good.
and what about your parents? I mean, did you grow up like with a lot of money, or
Mhm.
average, or what was that like?
Well, it's an interesting story. My dad, when he was young, he made his first million supposedly at 18, and he was repairing engines. And then he went on to do real estate, and he had 22 properties, and he had just different like businesses, and he did really well. So I saw from him like to be an entrepreneur is the way to go. Um, and my mom, she didn't really work, but there were definitely difficulties within the family growing up and a lot of ups and downs where we had a lot of money, we had shore houses, we would have different parties and events. But then when different things happened where it led down a wrong path, whether it's alcohol, whether it was around the wrong type of people and losing everything from having this to having nothing. So like, yeah, intense.
So this was your childhood trauma that you talk about?
Yeah, it is.
So I mean, what do you take from that? Like when you look back and you say, okay, I want to take, because I try to take the good and the bad of everything. I mean, I grew up in, my parents got divorced when I was real young. And of course, my biological father, he kind of wasn't around so much.
Mhm.
And so of course I dealt with a lot of like, you know, he was kind of flaky, and I'd be sitting there on the corner waiting for him to pick me up, and he would never show up. And I'm like
Mhm.
10 years old, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is just ridiculous. And so, but
Yeah.
looking back for me, I know it sounds weird to a lot of people because I never used it for my life in a bad way. I only used it in a good way. So
Mhm.
I'm probably one of the most dependable people in the world because
Yeah.
I lived with somebody that wasn't dependable. So,
Right,
or
right.
I had somebody in my life that wasn't dependable. And so I feel like I took a lot of the good and the bad. Now, my biological father, I mean, he's a great guy. He gets along with everybody. He's, friendly with everybody. He's a really good human being, like in his core, in his soul, he's a good person. And so, and then I had a stepfather, and my mom remarried, and I had a stepfather, and he was amazing guy too. But they both had different personalities, totally separate personalities.
Mhm.
And looking back, I kind of took the good and the bad from each one of them.
Yeah.
I feel
Yep.
like that's what really helped my life in a big way. So what sort of takeaways could you, uh, you know, process from your childhood.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a good, I mean, and that's what's great when when we can look back in retrospect and say, I went through that. It's kind of helped me get to where I am now. And I would say those things for me is to not be, I don't know if the word is complacent, but I feel like people can get comfortable with where they're at. And so they don't keep, I mean, like be grateful and happy with where you are, but you can keep growing, you can keep evolving. But I would say with my dad, it's to not get around the wrong people, to not be influenced by different shiny objects, to stay on a healthy track. I would say with my mom, yeah, to not to really do the work. Like, hey, if you've gone through some stuff in your life, do some inner healing, be proactive about it, and keep moving forward. So I think that's where it's helped me define who I am today, and that I will not, it's like, thank you for that lesson, but yeah, I know who I am now and where I'm going.
I mean, do you think that you're a better actress because you had some trauma in your life? I mean,
Absolutely. That's where I'm like, thank you for this gold, because you have made me a brilliant actress. Thanks for that. Because to be able to source something, it's okay, I can source this, I can get into it, and I can get out of it. So that's what's good about it.
and so is that what prompted you to go into like intuition healing and all this kind of spiritual world that you have engaged in? I actually did one of your courses, by the way, or I actually went to one of your webinars, and it was really good. And just the the really kind of diving deep was pretty fun.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So it was really good. I mean, I hope if anybody's, watching right now or listening, definitely, attend one of your webinars and, maybe even go that next level and get coaching or, sign up for one of our online courses. Cause I mean, it's some powerful, powerful things. Once you start figuring out, how energy works. I mean, I'm a big believer in energy. You probably know that already, but I mean, I believe in the law of attraction. I believe in quantum physics. I believe that, all we are is energy, and we can manipulate that energy for our benefit if we want to. We just have to learn how to tap it and be able to get into that. So is that kind of what led you in that direction?
Yeah, I would say spirituality has been intrinsic to who I am my entire life. I mean, since a kid, looking to the stars and being a wanderer, an adventurer, being like being fascinated with stones and leaves, and having this love and awe for, I guess, spirituality, but not knowing really what it was. Till later in life, when I had I discovered this work out in California that I thought really piqued my interest, and it was more shamanism and all of that, which was great. And I would say what led me to the intuition work that I do and learning how to work with energy was being through a series of bad relationships, actually, is what led me there. And I thought, I am not going to not trust myself one more time. And because when you have your intuition developed, you know what people are right for you. You know what situations, you know how to attract and call things to your life. So I thought, I'm going to go through intuition training. I am not going through this again. And that's actually what really led me there. But yeah.
I mean, do you think though, like you're just a total skeptic of relationships because you had some bad relationships? Do you think that you're like, that you overanalyze shit when it comes to relationships? I mean,
I would say it's not that I overanalyze, that I know more of who I am and what I want and what my boundaries are. And now I can, instead of things taking 2 years to figure out, is this person for me or not, it'll be like, okay, maybe 2 months, hopefully, or maybe, but yeah.
So what is that? Like, how do you manifest your dream partner?
How you use your intuition and you get clear on what it is. What are my needs, my wants, and my hell knows, being really specific and clear about that. And calling into the universe, okay, what would it take to attract this person into my life? And maybe visualizing it, seeing, okay, what is it like to be around them? What do they feel like? They smell like? What are we doing? Just different things like that. And if, and if I do, like, meet someone, well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it's going now. I'm seeing someone now, so we'll see. But it's how do I you use your intuition.
So is that kind of what happened, like the relationship that you're in right now? Have you did you call that in? How did you guys connect? How do you feel like your intuition told you that this was right, at least for now?
Okay. Well, this is a funny story, but so it was, and I'm not going to get too specific, but I'm going to give you some bits of it. But it was a year and a half ago, and I was with my friend, and she was like, who's your crush? Who's your celebrity crush? I'm like, I don't have a celebrity crush. What are you talking about? She's like, come on, we all do. I'm like, I don't have that. I don't know. And like, how old are we? Whatever. And I'm like, okay, if I had someone, so I said this person's name. She was like, okay. And a month later, I see him sitting at brunch where I was at. And I'm like, okay, he's right there. I'm like, I got to go up to him. And I go up to him and I just said, hi, Maria, nice to meet you. I just want to introduce myself and I'm a fan of your work. And that's it. And he was like, oh, okay, no, where are you from? We had a conversation and he asked me for my number and we started dating. And we dated for about a year and then we kind of faded out. It kind of just fizzled out. And then just recently he kind of came back into my life. And so we'll see how it goes.
Wow, that's very interesting. Very cool. Very cool. And so when you teach people, I mean, because I'm sure you have a lot of people that come to you and ask for relationship help. I mean, obviously, that's probably one of the big, pillars of what you work on, health and wealth and abundance and healing and of course trauma and relationships and things like that. So if you were to think about, because I'm gonna the next guy, the next podcast that I'm actually interviewing, he's a big time relationship coach.
Okay.
And so I'm just curious, like, to get your take on, what's kind of like at least you dealing with a lot of people. What are some of the major problems that you see people are coming to you for when it comes to relationships?
Oh, that the problem is that conflict resolution, not communication, conflict resolution, and I think communication is really key. Like being able to communicate to the person the way that they need to be heard and seen. The people that I've worked with in relationships specifically, it was after a period of time where they're kind of in that turmoil place where it's like, hey, I need some help with this. And it's kind of a toxic relationship. And a lot of it was helping them get out of it. But some of them, no, helping them strengthen it. But usually when people find me, it's like, I need some help. And so either they get out of it or they stay in it. So I would say it's communication is number one.
So how would you coach somebody if somebody said that, I'm having challenges in my relationship with communication? What sort of things, how would you guide them? Where would you begin from a question like that?
I would say if we're having a conversation and you're feeling upset about something, you can use something where it says, when you do this, it makes me feel that way, instead of blaming the other person. So you take accountability, you say what it is, how it makes you feel, and then maybe a suggestion. Would it be okay if we did it this way? Because I feel like a lot of the time people are just blaming and not really hearing. And it's like, wait a second, let's get back to compassion and love, where that is being able to see through the eyes of another. So if I really care about you, I want to hear what you need. I really want to know and be able to help you the best I can.
And do you feel like, I mean, coming from I guess I'm a little bit curious about this. When you're an actress, right? Do you think that actresses, there's a little bit of like more drama in relationships or less drama in relationships?
Oh,
With actors, especially.
with actors. Well, the one I'm seeing is an actor. Let's see. It depends on the person.
Okay.
So if, I mean, yeah, I would say it can be, and no, I like peace. It's got to be peace. If there's drama, no, thank you. I don't need the drama.
Right.
Um,
But
but with act-
do you see in Hollywood? Because I mean, obviously you're very close to Hollywood. We've worked in Hollywood. Do you see, because we see the newspaper clippings and all the articles, and it's always actors and actresses that have like a lot
yes,
of problems, and so why do you think that is?
I think that they get selfish, and it's okay to be a little bit selfish, but it's like all about me when it's not about the other. Like this is not a me, this is a we. And I think when you can remove that, you have your circle, they have their circle, and then we have our circle, then there's more of a collaboration, it's more of a unit. But it really gets back down to the basics. When you're with someone, hey, like, I love you. How can I best be there for you? But how can I show up for you in a way that will make you feel good and hopefully the other person will be reciprocated?
And so when you said like actors and actresses, maybe a little bit on the selfish side, what do you mean by that? I mean, why would you feel like some actors or actresses are selfish?
Mm, it can be all about, it can be, not all of them, maybe about vanity or um, appearance, or what do I need to get my needs met, because they're used to the spotlight, they're used to it all being about them and not so much about the other. So that's where the selfishness can come in.
So do you think Hollywood is a good place, or is it a little bit scary? Is it a little bit, because we hear stories like there's cults and devil worshiping and all kinds of like weird things happening in Hollywood. Have you experienced any of that, or like?
Well, it's funny. I live right down the street from the Scientology Center. Like I can
Yeah.
see the big castle building,
Right.
but that's a weird one. But I
Right.
haven't like personally encountered any devil worshiping or weird things like that, although they do exist. But I would say if you're looking for love, I don't know if Hollywood is really the answer. But because it's more, you come into Hollywood because you want to be a star. You want to make it in Hollywood. But who knows? Love can be found. You never know.
I guess I'm asking because we do hear you hear stories, weird things. I mean, you know especially being a woman in Hollywood, right? Have you experienced, obviously we've heard of a lot of sexual harassment, a lot of that kind of stuff that goes on, especially for younger women that are trying to make it in Hollywood. I mean, do you have to compromise your values to make it in Hollywood, do you think?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I did years ago. This was about 7 to 8 years ago when I had just moved here, and I was confronted with that. The meeting with producers, and they would give me an ultimatum, and it made me turn a cheek to the industry where I thought, this is dark. This is
So did
serious.
you have that? So you actually did experience stuff like that then?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
And
it's definitely real.
oh, for real. Yeah, it's definitely real. And it definitely did make me feel like I didn't know what to do, or be in the industry, but I did have a choice. I could have stayed in it. There are other options. I was younger, didn't know as much at the time, and I chose the spiritual route, and I went and studied shamanic psychology and kind of traveled the world doing that, which had its own headaches. But but with the industry now, knowing more, having more experience, I create my own work. Yes, I still have an agent and I'll go in auditions. I will create my own work. I like to do more of the producing side as well, because when you can wear a different hat, you can say, hey, I can connect financing to film. I can produce this. Then it gets you an easier in. So there are other ways of going about it to get what you need. But no, you never have to sacrifice your needs for anything. That's a limiting belief.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, I just, I'm just curious about, because, you know, you watch shows like Californication, and you watch, you know, like there's so many different, you know, things out there that we see things that are going on in Hollywood. And you wonder if these shows are real, if these things actually happen, or are they kind of dramatized? For me, I think that they're kind of dramatized. I mean, I think that ultimately nowadays, you know, you create your own reality. I mean, you know, if somebody tries to tell you that they're not going to give you a job unless you have sex with them, obviously you have that choice to not do it, right? I mean, you could say, well, I'll just decline the job. I don't really need the job that bad. And you know, there's, you know, obviously there's always choice, but it is sad that women have to deal with shit like that. I don't know, maybe even men. I think men have to deal with a little bit of that
I'm sure
too
they do.
happening.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
I'm sure
actually
they do.
happening. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but it's true. We do create our own reality. And if someone presents you with something that is not aligned with you, you never have to do it. There's so many solutions.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I love that you talk about limiting beliefs, because that's what really changed my life. I ended up at 21 years old getting connected with Tony Robbins,
No
and
way.
I started. Oh yeah. My aunt, well, she's like a second cousin to me, but I call her my aunt. But she was very, very successful in real estate. And she's like number one Century 21 for like 20 or 30 years now. She's just a powerhouse. Her name is Marty Rodriguez. She's in Glendora, California. She has her place in Glendora. And when I was 21, when I started my financial company,
Mhm.
I went to her. She was the richest person in our family. And I figured I'm going to ask her what she thinks, because I didn't want to ask broke people. I never asked broke
Right.
people for
Rich dad, poor
advice.
dad. Right. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Exactly. I only asked the people that actually have done well. And of course, she was like my hero. You know, I loved Marty. I mean, she was like the greatest person. And she's just super, super human being. Met her like at 10 o'clock at night at dinner, because she's, you
Yeah.
know, hella worker, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so and she goes, yeah, you should do it, and you'd be amazing at it. And, you know, she's just lifting me up, lifting me up.
Okay.
And then like 6 months later, she's like, yeah, because she was in Anthony Robbins's infomercials. So she knew him like directly. And 6 months into my business, she invites me to, I mean, we sat front row, Anthony Robbins, and
Oh,
it was
oh
life
my,
changing for me. Yeah, it was incredibly.
wow.
So I've studied his work for, you know, now 28 years. And so this
Wow.
is, but it changed my life because I understood what limiting beliefs were, right? Nobody ever, in 21 years, nobody ever told me what a limiting belief was. Nobody ever
Right.
told me why I was such a bad kid growing up. Nobody ever told me why I was doing the
Okay.
stupid
Yeah.
shit I was doing. You know,
Yeah.
like, if you're,
Right.
you know, I tell people all the time, you only know what you know because of what you know,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, right?
Yeah.
And
You
so,
know.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I don't know.
exactly. And I just, so for whatever reason, my mind just went like boom, you know, it was just like you know, light bulb went on, and I said, wow, I don't have to think like I'm thinking. I could
Mhm.
actually think different.
Yes. Life changing.
Right.
Oh my God. That's incredible.
So you know, I grew up with a lot of limiting beliefs. You know, I didn't believe in myself. You know, you know, I never thought of myself as a smart person. I got bad grades in school. You know, I was in a lot of fights. There was always challenges. And then I
Mm.
started figuring out, man, I mean, I'm in total control of what happens in my life and the way I think and what I do and the choices that I make. And 21 years old, a couple of years later, I was, you know, making $100,000 a year.
Oh
28
my
years
God.
old, I was completely financially independent. I think you know my story, but yeah, I mean, my whole life changed in like 7 years, and I was totally, absolutely free. And I've been living free for, you know, 20 years now.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm inspired. I've been listening to your book, Wealth on the Beach, and it's really informative. There's a lot packed into it. And I'm still, I'm still working on my beliefs around becoming financially free, but that's a mission.
Well, that's good. That's good. And so when you think about like financial independence or freedom or having that dream life, what are those, what does that mean to you?
What does it mean to me? It's being surrounded, and like I have a lot of what I dream of already, but it's just taking it to the next level. It is success in all ways, and like having beautiful, loving relationships, and traveling and creating projects and films and transformational products, which, by the way, I'm going to launch a product. I'll share it with you maybe within the next couple months. But it's one of the plants I discovered during my shamanism life. It's called �𝐿, and it's a vial about this big. I don't have it next to me, but it opens your heart and it's an empathogen. So I'm going to get that into everyone's hand, and maybe that will, impact everyone else's life and my life too.
Well, I'll be a guinea pig for you if you
Yeah,
want to. So
I would
just
love that.
let me know when you come out with it, and you know, I'll
Yeah.
swig it down, and I'll take the shot, and we'll see what happens, and see if it. I mean, I think we're all on a journey, right? I mean, we're all on a journey to try to become the best versions of ourselves. I mean, I went through a separation a couple of years ago. And it's just like you just don't even, I mean, I was with the same person for 30 years, so it's like your whole life, it's just so many different things are happening. But I kind of get excited because I'm like, man, I'm Daniel Alonzo 2.0, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
hell yeah.
literally like totally transforming. So many different thoughts, so many different ideas, so many different have opened up for me in
Mhm.
this last couple of years. And yeah, it's been an incredible little journey. And so when you think about the misconceptions though about like that intuition and healing industry, what are some of the myths that people think about and hear, and how could you dispel some of them?
I hear that maybe being intuitive or psychic can have a negative connotation to it, that you're working with dark energy or it's a bad thing, according to some religions. But being intuitive or even psychic is something that we all have. And yes, we all are intuitive. And I also get the question, but how do you develop your intuition? You can train it. It's training a muscle. Just like you go to the gym and train. But when you so those are myths, right? That it maybe there's like some weird negative energy on it, um or that you can't develop it, but you can. And it's
Or people say it's just straight out bullshit. I mean, like,
yeah,
people are with candles and rocks and all this, like, oh, it's like in the air and whatever, it does this shit really work,
right,
and
right.
that to me is the biggest misconception. What do you say to those people?
What I say is that you don't need a rock, you don't need a tarot card. If you do, you can use that as a medium. Is that if those tools help you become more intuitive, great, do it. But you can intuition is a skill. It's a skill that you develop, and it just helps you in life. It helps you make better decisions. It helps you know, is this person full of shit, or is this person like, can I trust them? Um, it's a skill that just helps you in all ways. It's your inner navigation system that it is true because we've all been through those times in our life. We just get that intuitive hunch. It's that feeling in your gut. It's that feeling in your chest where you go, I just know. I don't know how I know, but I just know. And you were most likely right. So we've all had moments of that.
And how do you teach that? How do you teach people to get that? Like how do you teach somebody to be psychic?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, psychic's fun because that's further developing your intuition, where you can go into the different senses, clairvoyant, your taste, your smell, your touch, all the different clairs. But I always say step number one to developing your intuition is to connect to the light. Because when you connect to the light, it brings in truth, and intuition is access at a higher vibration, and the light will help you do that. So if you were to ask yourself a question before connecting to the light, you would get an answer, and then you would connect to the light and you may get a different answer. You'll get a more truthful information. It just, everything clears up. So that's step number one. And then step number two would say, you can use scale to one. You can you can do scale to 1 to 10. 10 being this is absolute yes, 1 being not at all. Ask yourself a question, see what you get. You can use that as a gauge. But you really want to clear the blocks to your intuition, because what gets us off our track are these limiting beliefs, are the unconscious traumas that we've been holding on to, which can lead us off our path. So that's important to
And
clear the blocks.
to clear the blocks. Okay. And so what happens next? I mean, when you see somebody transform, I mean, what happens to somebody? I mean, do you just start seeing what's going on? Do you just start, like you I don't know, you know what's going to happen next, or like what sort of things have happened to you or your clients or whatever that have proven to you that this shit is real?
Yeah. Me personally, because I learned how to work with energy to clear my blocks, I've become so more attuned to energy, where I can more easily read a person. I can feel into a situation before it happens, and I just trust myself so much more. It's definitely a confidence boost. So I would say that within myself, and then in my clients who are training their intuition, they will be like, "Oh my God, I got that right," or the answers will come more easily, and they feel happier.
Or
So
you attracted your boyfriend.
yeah,
I mean,
right.
you attracted him. So that was
Yeah,
like pretty cool, right? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
so it's like you were thinking about it, and then all of a sudden he was
Mhm.
there.
Right.
Like
That's where
was
manifestation. And
yeah.
then he was there. That's where
He was-
manifestation comes in. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so when you think about the things that you do, like what's your day like a normal day for you? Is there certain patterns that you do every day, certain things that you do in the morning or at nighttime or during the day or whatever? I mean, what's your day like?
My day is I wake up and I will do maybe like a 10-minute meditation, and I'll give gratitude and thanks for my day and what I want to call into my day. And I'll either have like hot water and lemon, maybe just different things to add to my health to give me energy. Um, and I'll work out at some point during the day, either in the morning or at some point I do. And I will either have clients, or I will work on my business, whether it's marketing or it's research, or I'm working on the kind of products, or I'm working on something, always working on something. And then I'll either teach yoga. I also teach yoga. And what else do I do? Today after this, we're doing a walkthrough I'm producing a short film and I'm leading in it. So we're shooting the trailer for that next week, and we're going to use since it takes place in a home, we'll use my home as for shooting. So we're doing a walkthrough today. And yeah, so it's mostly clients and just different things. That's my day.
And so I'm curious also, like, what were some of your blocks? So you talked about you've cleared, it's helped you clear a lot of your blocks. What were some of your issues or blocks before you started all this?
I would say my unconscious blocks were, I mean, kind of all of it was not trusting myself or not feeling good enough. Um, Fear of loss. So these were some of the core beliefs and stories that I had to clear and move through.
And kind of that fear of loss, did that, your childhood situation, is that sometimes mess with you a little bit, where it's like you saw yourself have something and then lose it all?
Yes.
And that probably messed with you growing up, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it does. So we don't realize that subconsciously we're still holding on to a story from when we saw that as a kid. But, even throughout my life as an adult, my family, I've learned how to help them from afar, and help them the best that I can, but you can only do so much, without jeopardizing yourself.
And do you keep your circle kind of tight? I mean, as far as like you have a nice circle of friends that you like to hang out with, that you like to be with, versus like,
Yeah.
tons and tons of people. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. I feel like having my core friends, people out here, most of my good friends are in Pennsylvania or other states, but we always keep in touch. And then the people out here, yeah, just like you. And I usually go to events a lot, but yeah, I like to keep it close. Yeah.
Well, I just think it's so important. I mean, for the people that are watching, I mean, you got to make sure that you are protecting your circle and protecting your mind, because man, people, they can influence you in such crazy bad ways. If you're hanging with the wrong people, if you're in the wrong circles, if you're with the wrong people, it might seem like it's great at that moment, but I just think we got to protect ourselves, because there's a lot of influence that, look, I mean, the truth is, when I was 21 years old, I had a lot of bad friends. I had a lot of bad people in my life. I had a lot of, just crazy things that we would do. And when I went into business and I cut myself off from all of those bad influences, my whole life changed. I mean, for 28 years, my whole life is completely changed because I put myself in an environment of great people. Like you talk about doing your retreats. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you do your retreats and what those are like. But I think those type of situations are the best to be a part of. I love going to retreats. I love going to events where you self-improve, you're learning, you're around a bunch of people, you're rubbing elbows with, millionaires and people that are successful and that are positive and motivated and excited, instead of being around a bunch of people that are freaking negative all the time, always complaining and always broke and poor and limiting and it's always a hardship. It's always something bad and just it's sad that there are people in the world that they live like that every day. They have no awareness. It's like self-awareness. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think it's like you're creating your own misery. Like, keep talking about the things you don't like, keep surrounding yourself with people you don't like, you're going to continue to live in misery. But I don't know how people do it. And it's like, no wonder why you're not happy. Why don't you just start changing your story, change who you're surrounding yourself with, and then watch your life start to magically change.
But then people are going to say, well, Maria, that's not being authentic.
It's not being authentic.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you do? So what do you do now?
I'm going to say, try this experiment. I'm not telling you to suppress your emotions or fake being happy, but for an experiment for a week, just talk about all the good things happening in your life. And then if you want to do some healing, talk to someone once a week, do some healing, but during your day, put that to the side and only focus on all the good. See, just try it.
and see what happens, because probably your life is going to get better that week.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it. You're going to be happier.
1000%.
Yeah. And I think I always remember Tony Robbins. He used to always say that, like, it's not about I'm positive, I'm positive, I'm positive, I'm positive. You can't, look at a plant and say grow, 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 and it's going to grow faster. I mean, it's not just about being positive, but it's about understanding that we are creating our reality. I mean, look, nobody's perfect, by the way. I'm not perfect, man. I still wake up at 4:30 in the morning sometimes, and I can't go back to sleep because my mind is just filled with all kinds of shit. I can't shut it off, right? I'm normal. I'm a human being, right? You can't shut it off. But then what happens, what's interesting is what I do is then I say to myself, look, Daniel, you're in charge of your thoughts. Once I say stop, right? Like, or if I'm negative or if I'm being negative, I say stop.
Right.
Then I can decide what the next thoughts are going to be. And those probably won't be perfect either, but it's going to be better than all the other bullshit that I was thinking. Tell me what you think about that.
I love that. Exactly. I love that. Yes. Yeah, because you're in charge. You're always in charge. And the fact that you're able to bring it back to center and say, I'm going to choose this thought. Okay, I'm going to go up the ladder. Well, what's another best thinking thought? Now let me reach for another good thinking thought.
So you have a mentor. I think it's like Christy Sheldon or something like that.
I've taken all of her training, 101, 201, advanced. I mean, for years, I started 3 or 4 years ago. But But right now I'll jump on a group coaching call maybe once every 2 or 3 months. But yeah, but it's through that I created friends and colleagues through all that training. And sometimes we'll get together and we'll help each other clear our stuff or work on each other, which is such a blessing to have someone who can like psychically tune in and be like, all right, let me help you out with this. Let's clear that. Let's work on this. And which is amazing. Yeah.
So how important is it to eat well? Like how important is that for our frequency and our energy, eating the right foods?
Oh my gosh, it can elevate your life or it can take away from your life because food is fuel. And right, it does have a frequency to it, and what you eat is what you're going to vibrate, what you attract, how you live your life. And if you're going to be eating, chicken wing or hot wings or fried food every day, you're going to feel pretty sluggish. And how is that going to affect the rest of your life? But if you're eating wholesome foods, green foods, fresh foods, then you're going to feel lighter, cleaner, more elevated, and you'll be able to perform better at work with your friends, be more present. Food is will definitely improve the quality of your life depending on what you eat.
And so do you have like a certain breakfast that you like to eat every day?
It always changes. Today I had, what the heck did I have today? I had this protein bar. It's like this like healthy protein bar, whatever, something quick. I was on the go. Um, but it'll change. Either I'll have either a smoothie or if I have a piece of bread, it's like a gluten-free toast with avocado on it with a tomato. What else do I have? I like salads. I like chicken, fish, and that, yeah, just kind of keep it basic.
Pretty consistent. Have you heard
Yeah.
of Brian Johnson?
Yes.
Okay.
What is he again?
Brian Johnson is the most measured man in the world. So he is, I think he sold Venmo and then like
Okay.
for $800 million or something like that. And then he's basically going on this, like crazy science experiment on his own body.
He
And
is?
he's testing himself for everything. And so what's happening is that he's figuring out that there's a way that we can increase all of our energy. We could make ourselves way more healthy by the things that we're putting in our body, right? Whether it's supplements or whether it's just what we eat. Certain things have really, really amazing benefits, and they can now be proven because he's been studying it for like 3 years now, extensively,
Wow.
like millions and millions of dollars. Like every single day, he's doing the same things every single day to create. And what's happening is people are reversing their biological age. So,
What?
oh
I
yeah,
want to get on his protocol.
this guy. Well, yeah, I'm doing it. I mean, I've been doing it for quite a while, and
Well,
I'm
you look
just
amazing.
well, I appreciate that. I just turned 70, so I'm excited. And
Nice.
but man, I am like, well, I'm 5 years younger. I did like a blood test. I took 30 vials of blood,
Oh,
and I am just like, I've never felt better in my life. I've never been more, probably I still wake up at 4:30 in the morning sometimes, which drives me nuts.
so you
But
wake
if
up.
I could get my 8 hours of sleep, I would be perfect.
Yes.
But no, I took like they tested me like for 140 biomarkers, and I came out with flying colors. Tested me for 50 different types of cancers. I did really, really well. I mean, I have nothing, no challenges at all. And so it was really interesting because, and the reason why I talk about the eating part is because I eat really, almost the same things every day, right? I mean, he has this nutty pudding stuff. He's got these, I drink a 32 ounce, thing of water. There's like 70 supplements in there. I have some extra supplements, but every single day I feel like I have more energy than I've ever had in my life. I feel like I have way more strength. I mean, when I work out, I feel like I have more strength now. I mean, there's creatine in there. There's all kinds of different stuff. anyways, bottom
I
line,
want to take it. All right, I want
yeah,
to try it.
I think you should check it out. It's Brian Johnson. It's called The Blueprint, but it's super, super healthy and great. And I recommend everybody at least check them out. I mean, again, I don't know. I mean, I haven't, I studied a lot of his stuff, but I don't know everything.
Yeah.
Definitely, do your own homework. But I just, what I think is exciting about these days that we're living in, Maria, is we know so much more now.
We do.
I mean, I'll give you an example because I'm a little bit older than you, and growing up, we ate McDonald's, right? We ate Taco Bell.
Yeah.
I mean, I ate Taco Bell all the time. I mean, I ate McDonald's. I ate, you name it, I ate it. You name bad food, I ate it. And you look back and you go, okay, was it really that much more fun of a life because I ate McDonald's? No, it really wasn't. It was just we weren't educated. We don't know the things that we know now. We don't understand that, even like alcohol. I mean, I drink a little bit of wine, every now and then. I mean, but I don't even drink a lot.
I hear you.
And I just, but it's like, we are so indoctrinated as a society that you got to drink a lot of alcohol. You got to eat a lot of food. You got to eat hamburgers, and In-N-Out is fun, and all these. And I just feel like, is it really? Like,
right.
I actually enjoy eating a beautiful salad with, nice big piece of salmon on there.
That's fun.
And water with lemon. I
Yes.
love that. I mean,
right. Exactly. I know it's the truth. It's really just being aware and being up with the time. We don't need Taco Bell. We don't need those things anymore. There's a different lifestyle, and that's a conscious, elevated state of living. When you know what you're putting into your body and how this makes you feel, then yeah, why wouldn't you keep putting the good stuff in your body? Speaking of water, any water?
I know. I need some water. I don't have any water. I instead of coffee, I drink this stuff called mud water. Have you ever heard of mud water before? Yes. I love it. It's got all kinds of mushrooms and, adaptogens and all this stuff. So anyways, breath work. How important is breathing? I feel like this, I struggle with this, honestly. I was talking to a lady that understands breath work, and she's like, you do not breathe enough. And I feel it sometimes. I feel like I don't have good breath work. So tell me about breath work, because I know you work on that stuff.
Yeah, so I'm trained in the 𝐵𝐸𝐾𝐒 method, which is, it emphasizes the importance of nasal breathing and to breathe slow, light, and low through your nose. Only nasal breathing, and actually the less breathing, the better. What she may be seeing with you is that you may hold your breath, or you're not breathing that much, but you want to breathe less than, if you can breathe 6 breaths per minute, that would be good.
Oh, wow. But I always thought that you're supposed to breathe in more oxygen. I mean, I'm confused now.
You would think, most yoga classes, they'd be like, take a deep breath, get a lot of oxygen, but no, so the catalyst to bring in more oxygen to your cells is CO2. CO2 is an essential waste gas, and we get more CO2 by slowing down our breathing. So instead of taking big deep breaths, we slow down our breathing, only breathe through the nose. We increase CO2, therefore increasing oxygen delivery, which is going to increase athletic performance, energy, all of it. So I would say with you, so just begin, you don't breathe through your mouth, you breathe through your nose, but you're just kind of, so put your hand on your belly and just begin to feel the rise and fall of your belly, breathing through your nose. And a breathing exercise is that you can slow down the speed of air as it enters your nose for about 4 minutes. And that would be a breathing exercise. Wow, but just being conscious of it. If you notice yourself during the day holding your breath, wait a second, let me breathe back in through my nose, and slow down the breathing. Less breaths, the better.
The less breaths, the better. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I have a question. So was it good that all these people were wearing masks back in COVID days?
It was actually okay because with that, you're increasing CO2. It's all right. You're
You're
fine.
killing me. You're killing me. All right. So were you a big mask wearer? Because I got kicked out of Starbucks more times than I could, imagine, but I'm just like I'm a little bit feisty though. I'm a little bit of a rule breaker in the sense
Okay.
that like, I don't, when you try to tell me what I can't do, it's almost like I want to do it even more.
Yep,
And
exactly.
so what looking back, I mean, what do you think about all that stuff about the vaccines and masks and all that stuff, how they tried to control us?
In the beginning, I was definitely scared and I was wearing my mask going for a walk, I'm like, oh, I don't know, the virus is in the air. And I didn't know any better, so I was scared. And but now in retrospect, and also I did take in the very beginning, I did take was it Pfizer vaccine?
Right, right, right.
Um, but then I had a dream about it sometime after and how bad it was. And I was just thought, I will never take that again. It's not a good vaccine. Do not take the vaccine. Um, I feel a lot of it was, yes, it was a real virus. It really was hurting people, but it was a man-made virus, and which is sad. And I think that if something like that were to happen again, of course, do your research and protect yourself, but don't let fear get in the way of you living your life.
And that's so many people. I mean, there are people that still wear a mask driving in their car alone.
Still,
Still. So
are
yeah,
you okay?
I just help me. Help
Yeah.
me, help me. Like, what is going on with this world?
Uh-huh.
Like, is there no, like, the reason why I like talking about intuition and common sense and things like that, because a lot of the things that we do in our life as Americans, as human beings, there's a common sense plays a big part.
Yes.
And we all need to use more of our common sense because nobody's going to save us.
No, it's up
Nobody's going
to
to do it
you.
for us. And we gotta use that's why I love talking about intuition and understanding frequencies and understanding energy, because when we feel something, we can then take action to it. And we can take action, like you said, with confidence. I think
Yeah.
when you know more, I think I'm a pretty good reader of people. I mean, of course, I've been in sales for 28 years. I mean, I've, coached and trained thousands and thousands of people. I've had countless parties and retreats and events that it blow your
Amazing.
mind. Yeah.
Amazing.
And so rubbing elbows with human beings is like what I love. I mean, I'm that person that for whatever reason, and again, I have a lot of experience in all of this. When all the COVID stuff hit,
Mhm.
I immediately said, this is bullshit. Like, it was in my bones. Like, I just knew it.
Wow.
I just knew it. I never took the vax. I barely wore the mask. And usually I wore it below my nose,
Mhm.
because I did want to get in fresh air, not whatever the mask air.
Yeah.
But I like, I knew it. And you know what I also learned by dealing with like scientists. You're probably my almost 300th guest on
Wow.
my Wealth on the Beach show. I've been doing this show since 2018,
Oh my God, amazing.
basically every single week. It's like, talk about
That's amazing.
consistency, talk about
Wow.
consistency
Love
every
it.
single week since 2018. And, there was a guy that I really love. This guy, his name's Sean Wells. He is almost like a genius to me. I mean, he knows everything. He makes supplements, basically. He's a supplement maker. So you could ask him anything about a supplement, anything about a drug, anything about a whatever, he'll know it. I mean, about our health and, all that kind of stuff. And you know what's interesting? I interviewed him and he became a friend of mine, and he was like, do we really see dogs get sick that often? And
Hmm.
because we're so worried about like bacteria, and we're so worried about dirt, and we're so worried about all these different things that we think are going to get us sick. But the truth is, he's like, do you see dogs getting sick? He says, usually dogs don't get sick very often. Maybe when they get old, they get sick, but usually they're pretty energetic and they're happy and they have energy and they're, they lick their own asses, right? I mean, so it's like,
Yeah,
and
they're good.
they're dogs. They lick dirt, they lick their butts, their hair, they're rolling around and they're always dirty. And he said, we need, as human beings, we need some good, this good bacteria. We do need dirt. We do need some of these things in our life. And I think sometimes when we're overly sanitizing ourselves, it
takes away the good bacteria too.
Absolutely. We can take good bacteria. Absolutely. I mean, through probiotics and things like that. But I'll tell you, the last thing I'll say about that is that, my kids, I have a 22-year-old and I have an 18-year-old. And my kids, they never got sick.
See that?
And what's interesting is that I remember everybody criticizing us when they were little because we would pass them around like they were, you want to hold them, you want to hold them, you want to hold them. I mean, they got more bacteria. They got more probably coughed on than anybody that you could imagine. Their immune system is so strong as adults now.
Yeah.
They just don't get sick.
That's amazing. That's incredible. And see, and I believe the immune system comes from the beliefs that they were holding, that they don't get sick. Like, you're fine, you're good.
Yeah, I mean, my belief has always been that I don't get sick. Like, great things always happen to me. I feel great. I'm alive. I'm awake. I feel great. Feel good. I feel fine. I feel this way all the time. I mean, that's something that I've been saying for, almost 30 years now. And so, it's our beliefs that are creating our reality every single day. And so, how important though, like if you were to talk to somebody like a friend or, just somebody, in your life, how important is it for us to really tap into the frequency of our life, of the world? Because the universe is pretty dang powerful.
Yes.
It's more powerful than we even give it credit.
Yes.
And we can even comprehend. Explain that to me. And how does that work for you?
So everything is consciousness, and we are part of that. We are part of nature. We are part of the stars. We are part of the universe. And with that knowing that we can tap into this frequency, that we are powerful, that we can manipulate energy, we can create the things that we want, knowing that, you can really move mountains in your life. I mean, that's how important it is. Okay, there's an experiment. Okay, so even by the thoughts you focus on, when you think of a thought that produces a happy feeling, you are putting that energy, like, thoughts are things. They really are. If you think something, okay, if you tell yourself, this week, I want to see a yellow butterfly. I really want to see a yellow butterfly, and I'm going to think about a yellow butterfly and what would it take this week to see a yellow butterfly? I bet you will see one this week, right? Because you're putting that energy out there and the universe responds to what you say because we're part of it. It's a reflection. It's a mirror. So you're looking in the mirror and boom, it's going to bounce right back at you. Another experiment by Dr. Masaru Emoto, he took 2 glasses of water. He put rice in the water. Have you seen this? Right? Yeah.
I mean, I probably have, but it's been a while. I'm sure.
Okay. And he had the one water. He just thought positive thoughts. He just send it, I thank you, I love you, positive thoughts. And the other one, he neglected. He didn't say anything to it, or he said like hate or something. And after a few weeks under a microscope, the one had positive thoughts, had beautiful symmetrical crystals, and the one that was neglected was very ugly and distorted, and it started to rot. And that goes to show the power of our intention, our thought, and what we create in our life. So think about what you want to create. Your words are commanding your world. Your thoughts are shaping your reality in every moment. But yeah, tapping into the frequency. What feeling do you want to feel? Do you want to feel joy? Tap into that feeling, because then you'll get more of that back.
Awesome. Well said, Maria. Well, I think we could probably continue this conversation for at least 5 or 6 more hours. but I'm gonna let you get back to your day. I just know that I was actually very excited about this podcast because I am I'm such a believer of all of these things. And I just feel like we are, we're so lucky. I feel lucky and grateful that I am self-aware enough to understand the way the universe works and the way that energy works. And I mean, I listen to frequencies before I go to bed every night. Actually, I listen to frequencies sometimes all night long. And I just feel like we are we're in a different time of the world.
Yes.
That we're so conscious of things we weren't conscious about 20 years ago. And it's an exciting time to live right now,
It's very exciting. Yes. Keep diving deeper into all the weirdness because it's really not.
Right.
Because that's the truth.
Yeah, it's fun. It really is fun to learn. And I appreciate you so much for coming on today. Look, if you're watching, listening, you need to reach out to Maria. She's going to tell us where to reach out and where her website is and what her Instagram is and where she wants us to contact her. Cause I know some of you right now, you're like blown away right now. You're loving this content and you're thinking, I want to connect with Maria. I want to get to know her. I want to, somehow be a part of what she's doing, because the truth is a lot of you, if your life is not as great as it could be, then you need to have a conversation with somebody like her. You need to get coaching. You need to be in an environment of people that are pushing you higher and farther. And I encourage all of you to get in touch. So Maria, give it to us.
Thank you. Yeah, you can reach me on my website. It's intuitivecoachmaria.com. If you're on social media, Instagram handle is Maria Shapley. And those are the best ways to find me.
Well, you are on fire. You're doing an amazing job. I wish you the absolute best in your life. And we will always be rooting for you and just excited to have this conversation. So with that said, everybody continue to dream bigger than ever. You got to get after it. You got to get the job done. You got to do what you got to do. But most importantly, do it now. God bless you. We will see you at the top.